What happens when you get together a board-certified physician, a board-certified health and wellness coach, and a Shed member who's been sharing her GLP-1 journey with us through social media in one room? Well, exactly what you'd expect. You get science, strategy, and lived-in experience, all combining for a powerful conversation to talk about one of the most frustrating things that sometimes happens on a GLP-1 journey: weight loss plateaus. I am so excited to be hosting this Shed Roundtable. My name is Vanessa, and I am joined by Brittany, a Shed health coach. We've got Dr. James, and then we've got Selena, who is a Shed member that has lost 51 pounds during her GLP-1 journey. So weight loss plateaus are one of the most frustrating things that people deal with. And I want us to be able to talk about why they happen, what to expect, and some things that people can utilize in order to help through these plateaus. So let's get started with what is a plateau, what's happening. So Dr. James, can you explain to us what's happening in the body during these weight loss plateaus?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that plateaus are something that should maybe be expected with weight loss. As we start to lose weight, our body is really smart and it starts these metabolic adaptations, including downregulation of a hormone called leptin, which is a satiety hormone that keeps us full, and increasing ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone that helps us, have an appetite and want to eat more. So as our body starts to lose weight on a GLP-1, we can experience those kind of hormone shifts and metabolic adaptations that were designed initially to keep us alive, but just become frustrating as part of the journey.
Yeah, I think I talk a lot about mindset when it comes to weight loss plateaus. I think it's easy to experience maybe some weight loss at the beginning and you're so excited. And whenever you hit a plateau, it can be a little bit scary. It's like, is this medication not working? What's going on? Is my body not reacting the same to it? And so I loved your explanation of that there is so many complex things happening within our bodies. And things that we don't necessarily understand, the layman doesn't necessarily understand, and that we don't need to understand, but we just need to trust that our body is taking care of us, our body is doing our thing. For a lot of people, they have weight that their body no longer wants and is ready to shed. You might still experience some of those weight loss plateaus while your body adapts. I also think it leads, if you hit plateaus, it kind of leads to more of that sustainable weight loss in the long run because your body is doing what it's supposed to by adapting slowly.
Did you notice any weight loss plateaus during your journey? And how did you feel during that?
Yes, I did. It was a little frustrating because, like you mentioned, I was worried is this how far the medication is going to take me, But I did self-reflect. And start pinpointing, well, what am I doing that I wasn't doing when I was dropping the weight? So kind of taking accountability and kind of seeing, okay, where can I go back and fix this so we can get back on track?
Yeah, you were not giving yourself any sort of judgment. You were approaching it with a lot of curiosity to figure out, has anything changed? Is there any more that I could be doing?
Yeah, definitely. It's cool.
I love that because I think sometimes we play the blame game. What am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my body? When would you say in your patients you typically see these plateaus start to show up?
Yeah, typically around 5 to 10% of weight loss is when those hunger hormones and those metabolic adaptations really start to take front and center. And kind of like Selena mentioned, I think you put it beautifully, everyone kind of starts off a GLP-1 journey in this honeymoon phase where they're committed to investing in themselves with this medication, and oftentimes that goes along with lifestyle habit changes. So eating healthier, exercising more, that's just kind of something that we want to go all in. And around, the 3 to 6 month mark, some of that honeymoon phase kind of starts to wear off. We start to drift back into old habits. And that's where the coaching program can be really helpful because it can help facilitate those honest discussions with ourselves and what can we do a little bit differently. But just knowing also that this is a metabolic thing. It's not that you're failing at it. It's that your body is really just trying to hold on to that weight that it's accustomed to.
Do you have a timeline perspective from some of the clients that you've worked with as far as what you're seeing these plateaus happening?
Yeah, I think like that 5 to 10%, I love that number. I would definitely agree with that. I also think I just want to talk about, it's not a plateau, but sometimes people expect the medication to start working day one, right? Like we want that. We're investing time, we're investing energy, we're investing money into this. I have had patients who it's taken 6 to 8 weeks to start seeing, a significant decrease in weight. I always like to tell my clients, just to kind of give them what to expect, is 0.5 pound to 1.5 pounds per week is healthy, sustainable weight loss. So again, we want it to happen in a slow and sustainable way so that our body is able to adapt. So it's more so that first part where it's like, I think just setting the expectation for what to expect. And then sometimes that's helpful for them to get into the right mindset whenever they do hit a plateau a little bit later on, to, take on the mindset that you had of like, what's going on? And should I speak with my coach? And should I talk about maybe implementing, some new things or that sort of thing?
Yeah. I'd love to hear from you, Ms. Lena. You mentioned you started your journey back in April. Around what time did you notice a plateau in your journey?
During the 5 or 6 month mark, for sure. And it was during the holidays. Yes. So I actually stalled for 2 months. But again, rather than freaking out and putting the blame on the meds and saying, oh, this isn't working for me anymore, I took into account everything that was going on with my life. Was lifing. Life was
especially during holidays.
Yes, exactly. My parents went to go visit me for a week. My brother the following week. My fiance was, he works 2 weeks on, 1 week off. He was in town. I like to blame him a lot of the time. I'm gonna be honest, I'll blame him. But no, like when I stalled, I said, my parents are in town. My brother, my fiance, let's reset. Everyone left. My parents went back home. My fiance went back to work. I reset, and then I still stalled. And then that's when I decided to speak with my provider, because at that point I kind of reset and I went back to what I was doing, and it still wasn't working at that point. So I'm like, okay, I've done my part. Now let's see what we can do.
Yeah. I think that's a really good transition to my next question. We are talking about these plateaus and they happen, but how do we get past them? So Brittany, what are some things that you have found who have worked with clients to help push through some of these plateaus?
Yeah, I first want to say I love how you handled that, right? Like you took accountability and you said, what do I have control over, and can I kind of shift things? And then you went to your provider when some of those things weren't necessarily shifting and the scale still wasn't shifting. And so I think it's just that, right? Like we have 4 different pillars. We look at nutrition, we look at exercise, sleep, and stress management. And so I really like to go through each one of those pillars with the clients that come to me and say, I've hit a plateau. Maybe they have really good nutritional habits, but they've been struggling to implement exercise. And so maybe that's the next thing that we tackle. And sometimes they're so motivated to get through the plateau that it's almost that trigger for them to say, okay, I think I'm ready to start slowly introducing exercise. So it's really just looking at those 4 pillars and figuring out what are they doing, what are they not doing, and are they ready and willing and able to start implementing those things. I do have a couple clients that I can think of that are doing all the things. And so that would then be a conversation with a provider about looking into dosage or, medication or those sorts of things.
I guess on that note, what do you, when you're working with patients, and what are some things that you guide them with as far as like breaking through those plateaus?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I want to make sure that they're taking the shot as directed, that they're taking it weekly on a schedule, because oftentimes patients just want to increase the dose, but aren't after diving into conversation, finding out that they're not really consistent with their shots. So that's first and foremost. It sounds simple, but it's something that I encounter. And then women do tend to hold on to weight a little bit more the week before or the week of their menstrual cycle. So just kind of educating on that can be a real thing. So instead of looking at daily losses and making yourself crazy over what the scale's doing on a day-to-day basis or even a week-to-week basis, I try to have them kind of go over the course of a month. Like maybe you didn't lose a whole lot of weight this week because you're on your menstrual cycle. next week's going to be better. Just kind of looking at it in a more kind of global sense versus like the daily weight loss.
Yeah. Did you find anything in particular that worked for you when you were going through these plateaus to break through them? Or even, I would say, from like a mental standpoint, because we've agreed that it's super frustrating and it can be discouraging, but even mentally, things that helped you push through those plateaus?
I gave myself a lot of grace because I was very honest with myself. I didn't get to where I was at overnight. So I couldn't expect to lose it overnight either. So honestly, I took a different approach when getting on a GLP. I utilized it as a tool to help me make better decisions. So I live in the RGV, Rio Grande Valley, and we have amazing food, okay? Not to be biased or anything, but we have amazing food. So before, my fiance and I used to go out and eat a lot. But now I still enjoy those foods, but I cut it back. So I don't feel restricted. I don't feel restricted at all. I'm still doing the things that I enjoy. I'm still eating the things I enjoy. So I think that is that's been more sustainable, and that's what's helped with me too.
I love that, being sustainable. So we've talked about like lifestyle tips and things to look at, but at what point do we look at the dosage?
Sure, yeah. So, it's always a conversation with patients and how they're feeling on it and getting them involved in their care. But usually, if they really haven't lost anything within that 4 to 6 months, and I'm talking about not, a lot of times they'll tell me, well, I've lost X amount of pounds, but I don't feel like that's enough.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you are losing. So let's kind of manage expectations a little bit. But if it's truly no weight loss for 4 to 6 weeks, and they're on maxed out dosing, the GLP-1 that they're on, then we may look at shifting medication. I really try to get people to dose adjust per the titration schedules that we recommend, and to try to get to max dosing before we go switching medications and things like that.
No, that totally makes sense. And I think when you're dealing with different dosages, different medications, switching medications, I'm sure that you're seeing clients going through this real time. How do you balance coaching and like lifestyle changes as they're, maybe changing a medication, maybe upping the dosage?
Yeah, I think it's the things are very similar, like eating small, frequent meals throughout the day, really figuring out how to optimize nutrition. So are we eating a well-balanced meal at most meals? Are we getting enough protein? Those sorts of things to kind of support them. I love how you phrased it, that a GLP-1 is a tool.
Yeah.
And so it's only part of the equation. And so, we have amazing providers who work with our patients to adjust that medication if necessary, and we're really here to support in keeping things on track from the lifestyle perspective. And then of course the mindset, right? Like, it's hard going through a plateau, and it's hard maybe hearing from a doctor that you have to then change a medication or change a dose and not really knowing what to expect. So just being supportive through those changes can be really helpful.
Yeah. Did you, during your journey, find that you had to change dosage or make any changes to your treatment plan, and how was that going through like mentally?
Yes, I did, but that was after I stalled for 2 months. I really I took accountability, and then I went back to my regular routine to see if any little tweaks can help progress the weight loss. And at that point is when I spoke with my provider, and we decided to make the switch on medication.
Do you think that sometimes we're so focused on getting out of these weight loss plateaus that we are just maybe going too hard?
Yeah, I think the culture of weight loss is shifting for the better. There used to be this old adage of just eat less and exercise more. It's calories in and calories out. We know it's way more nuanced than that. And I love how the shift is going more towards working with our body and figuring out biohacks and all these wonderful things that we can do to work with our own metabolism and optimize what our body is designed to do versus just punishing ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have any experience where obviously nutrition and exercise go hand in hand with weight loss, but has there been a time when you've seen like changes to managing stress or sleep have unlocked and helped people push past that plateau?
Yeah, I think you mentioned something about hormones, and stress and sleep have a big role on hormones. So it can be something outside of just the medication. And so really honing into those lifestyle factors, getting tests done, speaking with your provider, and really having a good mindset to be curious about it and, advocate for yourself in getting to the bottom of it for sure.
So it sounds like it's all about, being consistent, having conversations with your provider, having conversations with your health coach. Selena, I would love to hear from you. I mean, you've been doing this for a while now and you've had these plateaus. How have you managed to stay consistent and focused on the end goal?
It's just a shift of mindset. Daily habits also play a factor into it. I used to see exercise as a punishment. Now I see it as a privilege to be able to move my body. So I don't dread going to the gym anymore. So that just becomes a habit at this point. So whereas before, I love how you mentioned the 4 pillars. Looking back at it now, when I plateaued, I was extremely stressed from work. Mm-hmm. I wasn't getting good sleep, and that plays a huge factor. I used to go home and just go to sleep. And now, because of those daily habits and those daily changes and the shift of the mindset, I don't see myself stopping. There's no way, because I think about how I felt before getting on a GLP and how just awful I felt, honestly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to that. So I'm very glad. I think for the long haul, you have to make those little subtle changes to make it sustainable for the long term.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I want to thank you guys all for being a part of this roundtable and having this discussion. It's such a big pain point for people, and we need to talk about it and address it. So thank you so much. And we want to hear from you. Have you experienced a weight loss plateau? And if so, drop a comment below and tell us what helped you power through that plateau. This has been an incredible conversation with these amazing women. So thanks again. If you're on a GLP-1 journey currently and you need some extra resources, whether you need to be connected with a provider or you want to get connected with a Shed Health coach or any of our other numerous resources, we have them here available for you. So make sure to check out our website to find out more. And thanks for joining us.